friends and net aspirants, welcome back to a brand new video of our channel High Point. And we have already started our lecture series related to literary theory and criticism. And if you have skipped any of the videos or if you have missed any of the videos, you can click the I button and you can have the playlist, the whole playlist of literary theory and criticism, and you can learn. And in this video we will be looking at Russian formalism. The title is here, so the topic of this video is Russian formalism. When we learn about the paper theory and criticism, most of the students face like problems in understanding some of the concepts and memorizing them, identifying the correct answer when the question asked in UGC net exam. It's a common tendency related to literary theory and criticism. See, students basically they find difficulty in understanding concepts and key terms and facts related to certain literary theories, especially of 20th century. So let me make it simple for you. We will begin with the Russian formalism. If you have seen the previous video in this lecture series, you know that chronologically Russian formalism started in 1920 and 1930s. So don't skip the video. I will be mentioning key concepts, important text terms, and also critics involved in Russian formalism. So watch the video full. So let's begin our new video session without any further delay. Okay, so in this video we will start with the term formalism. So what is the meaning of this word formalism? So if you understand the title itself or the name given to that particular theory itself, you will get to know many more things. And in order to understand this thing, you need to know what is the meaning of the title, meaning of the name given to this particular theory. So here, Russian formalism. So this two words that is there in the name, Russian means something that started in Russia. So Russian formalism as a theory started in Russia, and formalism means that which gives more importance to form, structure. I won't use structure. Maybe if I use structure, we have another theory known as structuralism that will create a confusion. But basically it studies the form, the various elements that we can see in a literary piece of work. Okay, so it is a type of literary theory analysis which is originated in Moscow and Petrograd in the second decades of the 20th century. So Russian formalism is a type of literary theory and analysis which started in Moscow and Petrograd in the second decades of the 20th century. Okay, so that's why it is known as Russian formalism. This theory focused on the formal patterns and technical devices of literature to the exclusion of its subject matter and social values. Thus, their opponents used the name of the theory, that is formalism, derogatorily. So, when they started this particular theory in practice, they never used the word formalism to refer their practice, but this name was given by their opponent, and they used the term derogatorily in a sense to indicate their way of analyzing a work. What was their way of analyzing and what was their focus? They focused on the formal patterns. See, formal patterns means in a poetry there are certain elements, there are technical devices, literary devices which are used to create that particular genre, poetry or novel. Mainly they focus at poetry. Okay, so formal patterns, they analyzed and focused the formal patterns and technical devices of the literature to the exclusion of its subject matter and social values. So they were not that interested in the subject matter of the genre or subject matter of the work or the social values discussed in it, but rather they looked at the form of the work, formal patterns and technical devices used in the work in order to bring about that particular work. Okay, so form is given more important rather than the content. Okay, form is given more important rather than the content in Russian formalism. So you may feel that this is actually not that, it is not relevant. See, content is more important than formal. Let me ask you a simple question. So when you wanted to write something, see, you are actually desire to write something, But before writing, before determining even the content, before that, what you will decide? You will decide to write whether a poetry or a novel or a drama, right? You will decide the form first that you are going to write, rather before even considering the content. So form is important as well. According to Russian formalism, formal patterns and technical devices used inside a literary piece of work in order to bring about that particular literature is more important than subject matter and social values. So if you understand this term, these two words, Russian formalism, then itself you can understand some facts related to this particular theory. And later the name got naturalized. So the opponents of Russian formalism used the practice of Russian thinkers as they were looking at formal patterns. They called them as formalist, and this theory, the theory put forwarded by these Russian thinkers were called as formalism. Derogatively, their opponents called it as so. So later the entire theory and theoreticians were referred as formalism or formalist. Okay, and it got naturalized, like everyone started to address and name it as Russian formalism. Okay, so here the main focus is the formal aspects of a work rather than anything else. They never gave that much importance to social matter or social values or subject matter or content inside a work, but formal patterns and formal aspects of a work. Okay, I hope that was clear. Now let's see who all are the major thinkers. Boris Echenbaum, Victor Shklovsky, Roman Jakobson, Jan Mukarovsky, Rene Belloc. Please remember at least these three people: Victor Shklovsky, Roman Jakobson, and Rene Belloc, as also Boris Echenbaum. See, all these major thinkers of Russian formalism, they have given their own contributions to the this theory, and also they have paved many other things. They have actually contributed many things to further development of many other theories of 20th century. So Victor Shklovsky, Roman Jakobson, Rene Belloc, Boris Echenbaum, and Jan Mukarovsky. So these are the major thinkers of Russian formalism. So later what happens in this theory? So they were working in Russia. These people, they were actually working together, and they were doing all sorts of critical thinking and using their own theory of formal patterns and all. They were looking at literary pieces of work. And later what happens, for some political reasons, so internally Russia was not at all, it was just after First World War, so political scenario of Russia was not that peaceful. So for some political reasons, this critical mood was suppressed in Russia by Soviet in the early 1930s, and it moved to Czechoslovakia. After moving to Czechoslovakia, this particular theory or school, Russian formalistic theory or school, it was continued by the members of the Prague Linguistic Circle. So in Czechoslovakia, there is another group is there, Prague Linguistic Circle, and in combining with them, Roman Jakobson, Jan Mukarovsky, and Rene Belloc, they continued Russian formalism there. Later, Jakobson and Belloc, Rene Belloc and Roman Jakobson, they migrated to America as university professors and continued their work in America as well. So that's what happened to this theoretician. So please remember their names, they are very important. Now let's see major concepts in Russian formalism. So as I discuss major concepts and major tenets of Russian formalism, we will be also seeing major key terms. Later in the video, we will be listing these key terms and key concepts, but still, as we discuss the concepts, we will discuss the key terms and the concepts behind them. It reviews literature as a specialized mode of language and proposes a fundamental difference and opposition between literary language used in composing literary work, and ordinary language used every day. So they view literature, or the language used in literature in composing a literary piece of work, they distinguish between the ordinary use of language and the literary use of language. And since in literature people are using literary language, literature is a specialized mode of language. We cannot find an ordinary kind of language in literature, but in literary kind of language, here basically they are distinguishing between two types of languages. Ordinary language are there which are used in everyday life, but literary type of language is also there, which is a language used in composing literary work. So since literature is composed in literary language, it is a specialized mode of language. So the central function of ordinary language is communication of messages or information, while literary language is self-focused, which gives us a special mode of experience by drawing attention to its own formal features, that is the relation between linguistic science and form and structure of a work. So this is nothing very complicated. They say that, see, what is the purpose of using ordinary language? So we are using ordinary type of whatever language we are using ordinary language in order to communicate in our day-to-day life, in order to give some message or in order to communicate some information to other people using a medium. While in literary language, it actually self-focused in the sense that when we use literary language in a literary piece of work, while composing a literary piece of work, what we are doing, we are using a special mode of language that will create, obviously, when a reader read that special mode of language, it will give us a special mode of experience. How it will give a special mode of experience? It will carry our attention to its own formal features. So what is this special mode of language means? It has its own formal features. Formally it has more features than ordinary language. A literary language possesses formal features while it is used in literature, and after reading them, the language used in a literary piece of work will carry our attention and focus to its own features, its own formal features. That is, the formal features means that relation between linguistic science. So in language we have linguistic science. Language is a system of science. If you remember Ferdinand de Saussure, we will be doing him when we discuss about structuralism in detail. So linguistic science, the relation, how certain signs are coexisting and how they are in relation in a literary piece of work, and the form, the general form of the work. If it is a poetry, there it has a form, a particular form. If it is a novel, there is a particular form. If it is a drama, then there is a particular form. And what is the structure of that work? Okay, how these elements and the devices, literary devices, are used to create this structure of this work. So by drawing attention to these features, these formal features of the work, so the literary language provides us a kind of special kind of experience while reading a literary work, rather than an ordinary language, rather than something that can be given by ordinary language. So the literary language in a work include different types of features that formalist calls literariness. So note down as the first key term or key concept of Russian formalism as literariness. So what is literariness? So the distinctive linguistic and formalist features that we can find in a literary piece of work through language, that is literariness. So these formalist distinguishable or distinctive features in a work, as far as a literary work is concerned, that is literariness. And literariness, we can see that using literary language only we can have this literariness, and there are many other ways we can achieve literariness. So literariness is nothing but a special distinguishing language and features that we can find in a literary piece of art or piece of work. Roman Jakobson writes in 1920. So Roman Jakobson is the one who came up with this literariness, this particular term. In 1920, he writes, the object of study in literary science is not the literature but literariness. So you cannot study literature, you cannot learn literature, nobody can teach you literature. But what we are learning, the main object of study in literature is literariness. That is what makes a given work a literary work. So literariness is a component, is a feature of every other literary work. It is what makes it a literary work. So if a novel is a novel and it is a literary piece of work, then how it becomes a literary piece of work? Because of the literariness possessed by that work. Same goes with the poetry, same goes with the drama. And he means that we study not literature but literariness of a work, which makes the work understudy a literary work itself. This statement shows the importance of literariness as a vital feature of literary work. So literariness, that feature, is a vital, it's a pivotal feature of literary work. Okay, so that's what makes a particular work a literary piece of work rather than any other ordinary kind of works, any other ordinary kind of piece of work. Okay, so remember about literariness. Now let's see, as far as Russian formalists, what are the aims of literature. First one, they discuss about defamiliarization. Defamiliarization is the second key term of Russian formalism. Note down defamiliarization as the second key term of Russian formalism, and it was put forwarded by Victor Shklovsky. So defamiliarization was put forwarded by Victor Shklovsky. So when we discuss about Victor Shklovsky and Roman Jakobson, we will also discuss about the two terms that we have discussed already. Defamiliarization is disrupting the mode of ordinary linguistic discourse, make it strange. So literariness is the key thing in every other literary piece of work, right? And how they are achieving this literariness? Through defamiliarization, in the sense that it is actually a disturbance, it is actually a disrupting thing to the usual or ordinary kind of linguistic discourse. We are having an ordinary kind of language, ordinary kind of linguistic usage and discourse going on in everyday life, and when it got disrupted and when it got disturbed using some other tools or devices, defamiliarization happens. Defamiliarization means what? Make something unfamiliar, right? Strange. They say the primary aim of literature is thus foregrounding its linguistic medium, doing an influential formulation through defamiliarization. So defamiliarization is a kind of thing that we have to do in literature in order to foreground, and background. Background is something that is there as a backdrop of something, and foreground is something that is given more importance and focus, right? So we have to foreground the linguistic medium, the language, the formal patterns that is there in a literature through defamiliarization, through disrupting the ordinary linguistic discourse or the ordinary usage of language. So literariness is achieved through defamiliarization, simply means by telling things in a strange manner. So defamiliarization means, literally, if you look at the meaning of this term, it makes something strange, right? Defamiliarization means make something strange. So you have to make something strange and present in that literary language in order to achieve literariness. Okay, so or in a new manner, so not only in a strange manner, or in a new manner which is unfamiliar in usual way of using language. So defamiliarization means that you will use unusual kind of images. See, take the example of metaphysical poetry. So in the Valediction Forbidding Morning, we can see a great example of metaphysical conceit used by Donne, that lovers are, the consistent love between two lovers are compared to two legs of a compass. That is an unusual kind of combination where this concept of love and consistency is defamiliarized and used in a new or strange manner. So that's how that conceit is brought about in that particular context by Donne. So by making this context unfamiliar, literariness is brought into that particular poetry. Okay, so it's an unfamiliar way of using language. It's you can actually use unfamiliar images, metaphors, and also you can actually use different types of syntax, word order, far-fetched words, so in order to create this defamiliarization effect, through that literariness can be derived. Coleridge made more or less the same point in his Biographia Literaria years back, that the prime merit of literary genius is to represent a familiar object as to evoke freshness of sensation. So earlier Coleridge also made the same thing, that unfamiliar objects will actually evoke freshness of sensation. See, about all these all these concepts related to Russian formalism, key terms and key figures in Russian formalism and their major contributions are elaborately discussed in my website. You can go and visit it if you want to have a free trial, and also after that, if you are interested in joining our course, then you can join from the website itself. It is very easy procedures only you have to follow, and once you join for the course, you will get 2 bonuses like weekly test in every Saturdays, and also you will get a personalized study guidelines, and we will be continuously checking your progress through your marks that you are getting in weekly test, and the things that you are covering and revising in your study, in your path of study. So if you are interested, don't forget to DM me or message me in the given number, and also don't forget to follow me Instagram, where I am sharing lot of free study materials related to NTA, UGC, NET, JRF, English Language and Literature. My ID that you can already see in the screen, and if you are interested, follow me, and also don't forget to subscribe to me in this YouTube channel as well, and press the bell icon while subscribing, because I don't want you to miss any of these videos in this video lecture series, not only in literary theory and criticism but also of cultural studies that we have parallel with this particular lecture series. So moving on, the next key term that we have in Russian formalism is literary devices. See, literary devices or figure of speech help to introduce the effect of freshness in the reader's mind. That is, in order to bring about this freshness effect in reader's mind, or defamiliarization effect, through that we can achieve literariness. How we will do defamiliarization effect? Using literary devices and figure of speech, comparing unusual images and bringing about fresh ideas, fresh comparisons, fresh images and symbols and literary or using the same thing in a different way using literary devices. So usage of literary devices will result in creating the freshness in reader's mind, thus defamiliarization effect. Thus what will happen? Literariness. The usage of these literary devices make the language used in the literary work from the language used ordinary or practical sense of our everyday life. So in everyday life we are not using these kind of literary devices or figures or speech that much. Anyway, we are using them, but still we are not using enormously, effortfully. With using some efforts, we are not creating any literary figures or speech, or we are not using any particular literary devices, but still in literature we are using literary devices that will actually deviate the literary language from ordinary or practical sense of usage of language in everyday life, that will create the literariness by defamiliarization effect and also bring about a freshness in the mindset of the readers. The deviations are made through violating patterns such as syntax. So these deviations, how this disruption of ordinary language can be done and defamiliarization can be brought about. Syntax disruptions, we can use unusual kind of word order in a sentence, and speech sounds, we can use special effect sounds, and grammatical constructions, special grammatical constructions, we can use rhymes, rhythm and stanza forms. So in the formal elements of literature we can have all these deviations, all these differences we can bring about violating any of the common views of these things, and we can bring about defamiliarization effect and thus literariness in a work. Okay. Next two things that they are introducing, Russian formalists, they introduce Fabula and syuzhet. Fabula is the chronological sequence of events in events, and it is termed as fabula. So fabula is chronological sequence. It's more or less like story. So how that event happened, using, or you have to say that in a chronological sequence exactly how events occurred in time. Okay, so that is fabula. They have distinguished between story and the plot. Story is fabula. Story is the chronological order of events happened, while plot is the arrangement of these events as felt by the writer to produce the desirable effect. So story is fabula, in which you will have a chronological sequence of events one after another. So that is story. But plot is something that you can arrange these events happened in the story according to the wishes, according to the whims and fancies of the writer, in order to produce a desirable effect that will also create a defamiliarization effect. So plot is known as syuzhet. Syuzhet, the term for plot. So syuzhet is a term for plot, may not follow the correct chronology of the incidents happened in the story, and this violation of the chronological sequence even bring what? Defamiliarization effect. This is useful in mainly in novels and drama, such prose works. So far we have discussed all these key terms: literariness, defamiliarization, literary devices, fabula and syuzhet. So these are the key terms that we have seen already, and these are the key terms of Russian formalism as far as a literary critical theory is concerned. But there are some more which are elaborately discussed in my website, so I invite you to visit my website and see especially the session given to allotted to literary theory and criticism, how we have arranged everything for you. And sum total in the website you will find 900 plus audio lectures and 300 plus downloadable materials, as well as previous and practice, the whole set of previous question papers which are lively attemptable, and you will know your progress and marks once you submit your responses, and you can come back to these items, these things provided there in the website as many times as possible if you want to revise them. So if you are interested, let me know. Please message me in the WhatsApp number if you want to know more, or you can directly join for the course from the website itself. And yeah, once you have joined, like I said, you will get 2 bonuses: weekly test and a personalized study guidelines, and a 15% off is going on in website now. So don't miss this chance and start learning early, and don't waste your time by waiting for the next NTA UGC NET JRF notification for the next schedule of exams. So start learning and revise as much as possible. So after key terms, let me give you some key texts involved in Russian formalism. There are many, but I have given only 3. First one is Mikhail Bakhtin's The Dialogic Imagination for Essays and Problems of Dostoevsky's Poetics, published in 1975. Roman Jakobson, Closing Statements, Linguistics and Poetics, came out in 1985. René Wellach's The Literary Theory and Aesthetics of the Prague School came out in 1969. So these are the major key texts involved in Russian formalism. Please pause the video and write it down. And if you want to have further details related to Russian formalism, don't forget to message me or comment me below this video. And also if you have any doubts and queries or suggestions related to video, let me know and I'll be glad to know all of them. So that's all about it, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and also if you want to join the WhatsApp group, you can obviously go to the description box and click the link and join, or if not, you can message me in this given number. I'll share the link and you and your friends can join freely, where you can have a daily quiz question and answer along with the news and updates related to NTA UGC NET, also some study materials there. But I share more savable study contents and materials in Instagram on a daily basis, like study cards, reels, short videos, carousels, and in my Instagram story too, I am sharing many more things. Monday quiz about a particular subject is one of the examples of that. And don't forget to visit my website. If you are even study on your own, this visit will help you to know what all things you need to understand and learn in UGC NET JRF. So that's all about it. Don't forget to follow and subscribe my videos in here, and also press the bell icon so that don't miss any other videos that I am publishing here. So that's all about it. Thank you for watching this video, and if you like this video, press the like button too, and let me meet you in the next video session. Until then, bye bye and happy learning.